By the way, before we leave, I'll have a couple exercises for you today, but I do want to welcome everybody to tonight's class on strengthening relationships, and let's dive right in. So, as you've been building through your courses, you've done Ignite Your Career, Embrace Your Job, Connect with Your Market, Defining Your Value, ways to generate leads, grow your database, capture leads with open houses, capture leads with social media, capture more leads and other methods. Keep every lead. That's really important. Keep every lead. Follow up with the leads and strengthen the relationships is where we're at tonight. So we're gonna, on tonight's agenda, we're gonna have cover a few different areas. We're gonna establish a mindset. Um, and so we're gonna talk about some things on mindset. I've been selling real estate since 2011. I probably had just some of those drunk monkey thoughts that you all are having, but we're gonna talk about ways to get through those. Identify your goals, diverse the plan, and then we'll wrap up the evening. So um, establishing mindset. What are some ways? Let me see here. Um, what what mindset do we need to adopt to successfully nurture relationships? What mindset do you guys think we need to adopt?
Outgoing and friendly.
Outgoing and friendly. That's a good one. Anyone else? Okay. Empathy. Ooh, empathy. That's a good one. Um, the thing to remember, people work with agents whose emotional proximity to them is the strongest at the time that they are ready to transact. So, oh, I like that. I just saw in the chat, professionalism. Absolutely. As a real estate professional, we cannot control when that moment happens. People will be ready to buy or sell on their own time. That's the biggest thing to remember. People will are ready to buy and sell on their own time. Uh, What can we control? We can influence our emotional proximity to the people in our world through our follow up by controlling the frequency and intensity of the follow up. What are some things you can think of that comes to mind um, when it comes to how much you're following up with them?
How many touches you have in a month?
How many touches? Yep. Are we overdoing it? Absolutely.
That's what I was going to say. Too much?
Too much? Sometimes when we look at it, we can start putting them on, maybe too many drips. And when you do that, now you're saturating it. So very good. Sometimes we want to be mindful of what we're doing. Now, I'm going to throw a little curveball at you guys. What is too little? We've already discussed too much, but is there a thing that's too little?
If they don't remember your name, that's not a good thing.
Really good. If they don't remember your name, not a good thing. You want to definitely find that balance. And the neat thing is, as you're having conversations with people, you're going to learn what are they looking for. Some people might be better off at email. Some might be better off at text. I think we got a couple 20-year-olds in here. They probably only know how to communicate by Snapchat direct messaging. And then we got a couple. So, and if you're like me, you actually know how to pick up the phone and you dial a number. That's how I communicate. Probably more text now, but but yeah. So we want to make sure we're communicating with the people where they're at. Um, Now know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused actions. What is this? This was given by Gary Keller from the Shift book. Have any of you had the chance to maybe start reading the Shift book? It's one book I would probably encourage that you put on your reading list when you have a chance. Real estate's always going to be a shifting market. It's not just about certain economic factors or certain things happening, real estate is always shifting from all types of markets. So Shift is a really good book I encourage you guys to have. Now, during your course of Ignite, you've seen this before. Who remembers what this model is called?
Lead generation model.
Lead generation and database model. Very good. Now, yesterday, wait, today's Tuesday. Yeah. Last time you worked on tools to convert leads. We prospect and market to bring in leads. So what are some tools that you guys learn that you feel is going to help you in your business working those leads?
The ability that you can send them a card like with the Keller Williams app so that they already like basically kind of get plugged into your system, and also the fact that you can kind of see like what your people are actually looking at, so you can kind of help steer them in the right direction as far as if you find a new property that just comes on the lot that would be right up their alley or whatnot. That's really good.
I like that. Very good. I see a few things in the chat. One person said send letters. Absolutely. One person said smart plans in KW Command. One person said the KW app. Absolutely. What I love about our consumer app is it works all across the country. So people that are people that are possibly looking at real estate in another city or state that you're not licensed in, they can still use your mobile app there. And when they find a house, they can notify you and you can set them up where you potentially get a referral fee. I love it. Sending letters is really good. The only thing I would caution you guys, if you're going to plan a campaign around sending letters, be purposeful for it. Know what your objective and goals are. Sometimes sending letters is going to take more than just that one letter, but I love that. Anybody else? Okay. Now let's talk the difference between a lead and a contact. What would you say are oh, I just love that. I saw in the chat. Pop by gifts and door knocking. Absolutely. Pop by gifts and door knocking. That's a great one. What are some differences that you can think between a lead and a contact? When I say a lead or a contact, how do you take the differences?
A lead is just a one-way conversation, where a contact is you're interacting back and forth between each other.
So, who would count as a lead? Like, let me give you a scenario. If I'm at a grocery store and I get the cashier's contact information, are they a lead or a contact?
Lead.
A lead? Yeah. Now what if I'm hosting an open house and this nice family walks in, they're looking to move, and I get all their information during the conversation and then looking at the house, even though they identified it might not be the ideal house for them. But during that conversation, we talk about their financial outlook. We talked about their pre-crowd. We talked about the kids, where they go to school. We talked about their pets and the little bunny rabbit that they have. What would that be? What would you count that as?
The line in between lead and contact.
The line in between. I love that answer. I love that answer. The line in between. What a great answer. I see a couple people in chat putting contact. Absolutely. It is very possible that a lead can turn into a contact pretty quick. Whether you're meeting them at a grocery store, you meet them at a park. I see Rosemary has a little one on. I love it. That's our up and coming agent right there. Yeah, Rosemary it might be at the school. He might be at the school, and she meet a parent there that she's never met before. So it is very possible sometimes a lead will become that contact pretty quick. So don't hesitate to panic over that.
I
Um,
would say that they're definitely a contact, because if they're gonna give you their information and they're already at an open house, that means they're looking to buy like very quickly. So in my mind, that would be a contact.
Yeah, I love that, Alan. Great job. Great explanation. Um, and kind of the reason I give those scenarios is just that. I've seen it where sometimes it's like a lead contact, but a lead can become that contact pretty instantly before you even get them in your database. So that's great. Um, Leads are people we kind of discussed it. Leads are people you have contact information for and you have a way to follow up with them. So now when we meet somebody at an open house, have a bunch of you or all of you done open houses yet? Okay, I'm seeing a good amount of head shaking, good amount of thumbs up.
Yeah.
So during those open houses, everybody you meet did the information they give you, was it accurate?
90%.
Yeah. And here's why. It's human nature. If you were to go to a car dealership or a furniture store and you're there to buy, like you're there to buy. You're not walking out of there with buying something. But while you're looking, you're checking things out, that nice salesperson walks up to you and says, "How's it going this evening? How can I help you?" What is your instinct to say?
I don't need help.
Oh, she's direct. I like that. I don't need help. Okay.
Just looking.
Just looking. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Don't need help, just looking. And that's how people feel when they come into an open house. They know we're collecting information to follow up with them. And yet, um, before they leave that open house or before they leave a seminar you're putting on, is it possible that you could get them to give you the correct information even though they didn't sign in with it? Ooh, I got a bunch of quietness on that.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you meet that person, whether you're hosting an open house, maybe a seminar, and when they sign in, they might not give you the accurate information because natural behavior is I'm just looking. But is it possible before they leave you, you can get their real information?
Yes.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah,
is.
just test it out.
What is that?
Just test it out. Say, hey, I saw your information. Just want to make sure this is correct.
Absolutely.
Or
Oh, go ahead.
one of the other instructors said something like, you shoot them a text, or if you feel like it's wrong, you go ahead and shoot them a text, and in conversation say, "Hey, I just shot you a text. Did you get it?" And when they didn't, say, "I must have got your number wrong here," and give them your phone and let them put it in there.
Absolutely. Those are all good ones. One I used that I like is once I feel I kind of build that rapport and I usually know I have something to follow up. And I do this with all of them. I read back the information. I go, I'll say, "Jamie, so I have your information here," and I repeat the phone number. And more times than not, I will actually inadvertently either flip the last two numbers, or maybe if it's a 7, I might call it a 9, because even though they might have gave it right, I want them to correct me on that because I want to verify I have the right information. Some of the other cool things is where you can leverage command. Talk to them about, when was the last time you checked out your home value? And if they go, "Well, never, why would I do that?" Well, it's your number one asset. You want to make sure your home value and your insurance policy are in line. And that's where you can offer them. I have a really cool service that once a month I send you an average price of the area your home is in. And there's no obligations to send that. I just need your email. And I see your email is 123@gmail.com. Is that perfect? And they probably say yes. And all I'm sending them is the monthly neighborhood nurture. That's all I'm adding them up for. So there's ways when you're building those conversations and you're connecting with them, it's always good to try to verify that information they give you, because once they leave, you might not get a second chance. With the lead, we have a person's name and a way to contact them. But with a contact, we know more about them because we have been communicating with them. We might know if they're a first-time home buyer, if they're real estate investors. As you build that conversations, you're going to learn a lot about them. And the biggest thing I can give you guys, take notes. Try to jot it down on the on a notepad so you can log those notes and always reference back to it. And if you remember in KW, we have our Y4C2Ts, and the C in that, the third C is communication, to seek first to understand. One of the biggest challenges we have is, and I'm just as guilty, hence I'm teaching, we like to hear ourselves talk. We like to talk to our people. We like to talk to our database. We want to help people. We all come from a compassionate place that we want to help people make the right choice on one of their biggest investments. And yet, sometimes the best things we can remind ourselves to do is ask questions and let them answer. So don't be afraid to let them answer. Sometimes you might just have to go with the mode of silence for a moment, but they will answer you. And those are the best things to seek clarity when you're building that relationship. And that's the biggest thing. You want to focus on building relationships and take market share. When you build those relationships, you can become unstoppable. We all want to be successful, and a real estate professional, success is built on relationships. I want you to think back. We are in a professional service industry. Now, what I would like you to think about for a moment, take a quick moment and think. How many of you have purchased a home before? Okay, a few of you. What can you tell me about that agent? And can you even tell me the last time that agent spoke to you?
Only
I haven't
one.
heard from him since the close.
Since he got his check and disappeared. Nope, she disappeared, never contact me after closing. Yes, only because of social media. Mine keeps in touch and sends a Christmas card each year. Okay, the one who said that, is that all they do is just send a Christmas card, or do they do more? One said they actually followed up to invite me to events. Okay. She became an awesome friend. Oh, I like that. Okay, that's good. I do know she's out of business as a realtor. John, depending how far out of business she is, you might want to contact her and see if that database is available. And offered investment opportunities. Great. Okay, so some of you, but if you notice as a bulk, we have 41 of us on the call tonight, but yet the majority of you said you never heard from them again. So now I want you to go one step farther. You're still not an agent, you're not a professional. Take the hat off for a moment. Now you're out looking for your next home. Or maybe you have a close family member or friend looking for a home. Who are you going to recommend to them?
Well, I'm gonna recommend myself personally, but I don't know who
You're not
everybody
an
else
agent.
is.
I'm asking you to take the agent hat off, but I do love it, Alan. Yeah, you're going to recommend yourself. But the truth is, when the agents don't build that relationship, then you're not going to remember them to refer them business. You're not going to remember them to use them again. Before I got into real estate, I bought my own investment properties in St. Louis. I can tell you right now, I can only remember 2 of the 6 agents I've ever worked with in St. Louis. The one I remember because he's a friend. I don't know if he even practices anymore. The other one I remember because I remember how out of the way she went, and I remember her hospitality. And at the time, we were on a very strict deadline to get a contract in because it was a HUD property, and back in that day, you had to sign everything on paper with blue pen. It had to be FedEx to the HUD office on a timestamp. And she literally at 8 p.m. at night met me at her office because the other agent that was representing me refused to meet me at the office because their broker couldn't be bothered to sign the paperwork. So if it wasn't for her, I would have lost out on a good deal. So, but also, why do I stay in touch? Because she stayed in touch with me, she followed up, but those are the key things. So do not be afraid to stay in touch with people, no matter who they are. No matter who they are, you want to stay in touch and you want to build that relationship. So today's conversation is always going to be tomorrow's transaction. Those are something you want to remember. The conversations you're having today are building your business for the next 6 to 12 months. So once you establish that mindset with your contacts, if your database is your garden, how many of you like to garden before I go down this explanation? If you're like me, I do not have a green thumb. I overwater plants. I don't sun plants. I'm bad at it. So somebody, but when you, the leads are seeds, your contacts are your plants, and your conversation is your harvest. So what do you think about the expression on the slide today? Conversation is tomorrow's transaction. And how does it affect your mindset?
Makes you realize that if you're not talking with people, you're not going to be closing deals.
If you're not talking to people, you're not closing deals. Most of us are West Coast. I'll be honest, I don't know every state. And yet, if I'm a little off, please feel free to correct me because I always like to learn. The majority of your transactions are going to be an average of a 30-day close. On top of it, you're potentially 30 to 60 days of that client looking to identify a house to put an offer in on. From they're going to be needing to get a pre-qual, they got to decide what they want, narrow some things down. So you're 60 to 90 days before a check. And yet, if you stop having those conversations, where does that put you? Does it put you at the end? I like somebody put broke. Absolutely. Broke, farther behind. Yeah, you got to start back over. So always be looking for those conversations. When I was very big in practicing, I love doing open houses. I love doing open houses. And every weekend I would try to have at least 2 open houses, usually one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And one of the things I always did, I'm here in Phoenix, and I always went to Fry's grocery store on Saturday morning. While I was there, I picked up my case of water, I picked up some cookies for the guest, depending what it is. I might pick up some little candy for the kids, but I also bought balloons. They were a little cheaper back in 2012 and 2013. But I would pick up balloons because I would put balloons on my open house signs to draw more attention to them. Well, I never really had a conversation with the gal that helped me every week. I mean, we were just cordial, but I never had a conversation with her until about 4 months later. And she goes, "Why, you're in here every weekend picking up balloons. What do you do?" Huh. And I said, "Oh, I'm a real estate agent. I hold and I have listings I'm holding open. I do open houses." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And we briefly talked. Well, the next weekend I walked in, she said, "Do you think you could work with my boyfriend? He's never bought a house before, but he's thinking of buying one. Could you connect with him?" What do you think I said?
I bet you said, heck yes, I can help with that.
Heck yeah, yeah. And then what do you think I said to myself when I got in the car? What an idiot. Like, I see the girl almost every week. Like, how do I not have that conversation? Like, so if it wasn't by luck, sometimes we can't always rely on luck, but if it wasn't by luck, could I have lost out on a commission check?
Yes.
Yeah. So never be afraid to talk with people about what you do. The thing is, sometimes I think as human nature, we think we can only talk about the boring stuff of real estate. Like, and we can only ask the same boring questions. Do you know somebody looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? But the truth is, do we actually have some fun things we can talk about in real estate?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. What's something fun?
So we have a client appreciation event coming up in a couple of weeks, so I could talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want a client? What's some other things? Architecture. I love it.
You could talk about the market, how the stats are doing, or like lower interest rates, your current events.
Okay. Current events, market, nice. Local events. How many of you go on home tours or go preview properties in your spare time? Okay, I see some hands up. I see some I do's. Have you come across anything funny or interesting or really cool? A lot of mind power thinking on that question. Construction? Yeah. If you guys aren't coming across anything cool when you're out previewing properties, you're previewing the wrong properties. Go have some fun. Very small homes in a high price point area for high prices. Okay. Yep, that can be fun. New neighborhood has a cool statue. Yep, amenities. If you really want to have fun, you guys have a real estate license. Even though you might not be doing luxury yet, go check out your luxury market. Go see what the luxury homes look like. Go preview them. You can always walk away with something. And the best part is now you can have a conversation with somebody. Like I could okay, Carol. I could be talking to Carol Jackson, and my conversation with Carol could be, Carol, how's your day going? And she would share with her. And then what is she naturally going to do? She's going to ask me about my day. Now, I might not have seen this property today, but I might have seen it a few days ago. And I might be like, oh my God, Carol, I was out looking at some properties for some clients. I was in this really nice neighborhood. But Carol, can you believe $1 million house? And when I walked in that backyard, their pool was green. Like, what is it with people? Or I could tell her, oh, I was looking at this house in Gilbert, and believe it or not, Carol, this house actually had an elevator in it. An elevator. Like, how great is that? So sometimes take what you're doing and have fun with it. So don't be afraid to, even think about things you've learned in real estate school. Think about things you learned in this class and how can you tailor that to a conversation or provide value to somebody with it. Never be afraid of those conversations. Once you meet your new contacts, you either do business with them immediately or you don't. It's the only two options. Either way, once you met them, you put them in your database and you stay in touch with them forever. I want to share a quick story with you guys. If you've never met me, you'll find I'm an open book. I have no shame of sharing stories to try, of my mistakes. But when I first started in real estate, I was telling everybody, hey, I'm in real estate. If you ever need anything, I'm here for you. Well, I had a small group of people. They were friends. They were co-workers in another industry that I worked in, and I still worked in that industry while I was selling real estate. A couple of these friends I actually traveled with, like we would take trips together to Vegas. And I kind of let my negative self take control, and I quit talking to them about real estate. I'm like, we're close friends, we travel, we see each other all the time. They know I'm in real estate. And I don't need to sit there and keep reminding them. Anybody want to take a guess what happened?
They used a different agent.
Yep. I lost out on 3 transactions. Once I got over myself and I decided to go ask. By the way, one of those transactions, the guy kept asking me through the entire transaction about things about the transaction. But I finally asked him, why is it you use somebody else and not me? What do you guys want to guess their answer was?
A recommendation.
Nope.
They didn't want to mix a friendship with business.
Nope. I wish that was the answer, but I thought of both of those before I got the nerve to ask.
You didn't ask.
Believe it or not, no, that wasn't the answer.
They didn't know you were in real estate.
That's exactly the answer. They go, well, you never talked about real estate anymore. We didn't think you were doing it. That was a big aha for me. It was so much of an aha that I went back and looked at all 3 of those transactions, and for the next, and I added up how much GCI I added up the volume and how much GCI it was. And I printed that big on my wall, and I had that in front of me every day. So I remembered how much commission I lost out on. My reason for sharing that story with you is don't be afraid to have conversations. Don't be afraid to remind people. There are some people you probably don't want to do real estate with. That's okay. I have them. They're called family. But yet I still want to keep in touch with them because I might refer them to somebody else and I'll be glad to take a referral fee off them. So don't be afraid to have those conversations whenever you're talking. Don't feel the way you over talk, what in my opinion, is when it's the same thing. Are you looking to buy or sell real estate today? No, goodbye. But when you mix it up, when you have fun, when you get to invite them to a client event, when you get to invite them to a seminar, when you get to invite them to something valuable, that is where you're changing the conversation and the relationship. Now one of the things is identifying our goals. In order to be successful at nurturing relationships, we must understand our goals. So when you look at the graphic and compare it to the wave graphic where every person in your database is on the wave of being ready to buy, in this graphic, we have the lead generation phase on the left where you're gathering and storing your leads rather quickly. In fact, you can generate leads in a day or weeks. On the right end of the graph, you are busy with the transaction process, which can last from 2 weeks to 2 months. So here's what I want to ask you. How long is the lead follow-up phase? And do you recall how many years in between buying a home on average?
I think it's 8 years.
Around 8 years is where they could be buying another home. 5 to 7, 5 to 10. Absolutely. It's not like back in the day where most of our grandparents, bought the home and that was it. They were retiring there. People move very frequently now. We're seeing these 20, 21, 22-year-olds even start buying a home, which means that's 5 to 6 potential deals over your career out of them. Does it make sense on how important lead follow-up is, especially since it can take 10 years? Sometimes it gets hard doing lead follow-up because we want that result. But as we like to say, this is a sprint, not a marathon. So don't ever be afraid that what you're doing is not working, because what you are doing is working. lead follow-up imply lead conversations, convert conversations as well. You're always qualifying whether the person is ready to meet for a real estate need. What could be real estate needs?
Finding a new place or selling a place.
Buying a new place, selling a place, okay. What's some other real estate needs?
Could be like finding a plumber, or you need a HVAC dude because your AC's broke or something like that.
Yeah, they might need help with vendors.
What's the value of my home?
Value of your home, yeah. It's amazing the number of people who really don't know the value of their home or understand the importance of it. It's also really amazing they don't understand their insurance policy might not be in line with the value of their home. What are some other needs? How many people in your database have kids? You don't have to answer, you could just think. And out of those kids, how many of those kids might be approaching or might already be at college age? Do you think there might be a real estate need there for the college kid? What could that college kid need in real estate? He's going to college. He's going to ASU to party it up. What could he possibly need in real estate needs?
What do you call the condo close by the school?
What's wrong with the dorm?
It's costly.
It is costly.
Oh yeah. My daughter's went from 20,000 a year down to 12,000 a year.
So you actually have firsthand experience, Vince, at this.
Absolutely.
So could that be a marketing piece you put together, or maybe a video or conversation?
Absolutely, because I looked into it, but homes around San Jose State are very expensive. But for her to get a 2-bedroom apartment, the price came down to $1,200 a person, opposed to 18,000 a year for the dorm.
What's the one strong thing we know about real estate? Real estate does what in the long run?
Appreciates.
Appreciates in value. I met this agent one time. This was brilliant. I thought this was brilliant. You guys will learn. I'll share. He knew people in their database, and when their kids were within 2 to 3 years of going to college, not a year, 2 to 3 years, he was having conversations with the parents about it. Now, 3 years was kind of more the extreme side, but he started the conversation. But most kids usually within a year or two of graduating, they probably have a pretty good idea where they're going to college. But the conversation he was having with these people, he was showing them what it looked like to go buy a property. So when the kid was a senior in high school, he would coach them on buying a property at the college that the kid was going to. So then they got 1 year of rental income. Then when their kid goes to college, the kid gets to live in the unit or the house, and just like Vince said, rent out a couple rooms to other people. So now they got 5 years, potentially 5 years. And now the kid graduates college. Are they most likely ahead or behind?
And that's exactly what I did when I went to college. I got my parents to buy a house, stayed in dorms the first year mandatory, and then stayed in the home and rented the other 2 or 3 rooms out. Paid for all my housing.
Yep.
And they made money off the investment after they sold it.
Yeah. I've actually known people who they were doing so well at it, they held on to the properties for like another 6 years and just kept renting it out and either self-managed or hired a property management company, because what they were making in rent off the college kids was far better return, and the kids were still ahead because they weren't paying the 20,000 a year for the dorm. And when a parent does that, or a college kid does that, did they just buy an asset or did they go for a liability?
Definitely an asset.
Yeah. But when they're doing the dorms, are they on an asset or a liability?
Liability, trust me.
I have a feeling Vince has a very heavy checkbook right now. He's not liking.
I actually have a property that's right there by San Jose State, and it turned out we got more for the renter than it would be for her to rent the place. So we get $3,000 a month to rent the place out, so it made better sense to rent it out than for her to live there.
Yeah.
So that place actually covers the cost, helps to cover the cost for her apartment somewhere else.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a good job. But do our clients think about this? No, it wouldn't cross their mind. So something to definitely think about when you're trying to decide what type of conversations do I have? How do I have those conversations? From session 11, we talked about it was talked about convert leads to appointments, and we learned not every lead is able, ready, or willing to meet. When we encounter folks who are not ready for an appointment, we use follow-up to stay in contact. If you had to guess if you had to guess, how many times have you agreed to be in someone's database when you were not ready to make a purchase? How many times have you ended up in somebody's database when you weren't ready to make a purchase?
At least 10 just using Zillow, saying that I was interested in a property, not really understanding that that was going out to like 10 realtors and that, you know, a number of them were gonna just phone bomb me.
Yeah, Alan, and when they when they phone bombed you, out of, let's just go with that number 10, how long did it last?
I don't know. I got to the point where I was no longer picking up my phone, so I have no idea how many people are calling me these days.
Yeah, but it dies off because agents don't stay on top of it. I want to ask a couple questions. This is usually a little different when we're all together and I can see everybody, but we're going to go for the digital version. I want you to raise your hand if you have ever signed up for an email list or text message for a discount code you didn't use the moment you signed up. Okay, go ahead and raise your hands, keep them up. Now, lower your hand if you have only done this once. Lower your hand if you have done this less than 5 times. Lower your hand if you have done this less than 10 times. Lower your hand if you have done this less than 20 times. Okay. Now everybody can lower their hand because here's what I want to ask. How many of you, by a show of hands, ended up eventually buying something after receiving multiple messages from the company or person who had you in their database? Few of you. Yep. So now I'm going to ask you this. What does this tell you about lead follow-up? Does it work? Personally, I think done correctly, it does. I really do. I'm in the process right now of signing up for a service that I started looking at about a year and a half ago. And when I first signed up for the information, I had no intention of signing up, none. However, due to their professionalism, due to their consistent follow-up, their ability not to annoy the heck out of me, we are actually now, when I made the decision a couple days ago that I'm ready to make the move, guess what company I'm going with? By the way, I talked about 4 different companies offering similar services, but which company do you think I'm now in conversations with to sign a contract with?
That person.
Yeah.
And Matthew?
Yeah.
I had a lady when I bought my house that came by to introduce herself as a realtor. She kept in touch as a friend, and I ended up giving her 2 referrals that she ended up closing. Very nice $1 million properties with.
Yeah. Because it's the professionalism. Sometimes as salespeople, we can come across sleazy. I know I've done it a few times, live and learn. And yet, the majority of the time, when we're coming from a place of curiosity, we're coming from contribution and getting to know them, it sticks. I have a client, I just listed their home. I sold them the home 4 years ago. Between all of us and this recording, I haven't done the strongest job keeping up with them. But yet, I'm the one they called to list their house. Now, I'm not saying do the least, because that was not my intent, but yet it was my professionalism that they really remembered. It was the time I took with them. It was those 8 p.m. showings, because with his work schedule, that's the only time we could go see homes was at 8 p.m. So, so sometimes professionalism and your follow-up can come across in many ways. Frequency of follow-up often makes the difference. That's where it's knowing your database. We have a lot in common with contacts. If your contact gets messages from us to make an offer for immediate response, or MOFR, they are likely to respond. We are more likely to get closed business. So when you're thinking about doing stuff, make sure you have a call to action the best way you can. Call of action could just be offering them a free home value. Call to action could be talking about how they could, help pay for the college tuition. A lot of different things they can do. Identify the goals. Convert leads and contacts to close business and stay top of mind. We talked a lot about Mindshare before, different things you can do, the importance of it. Let's take a look at some stats. There was a NAR review. There was a NAR review that says 74 to 75% of all buyers and sellers spoke with just one agent before choosing them to represent them. I'm going to say that again. 74 to 75% of all buyers and sellers spoke to just one agent before choosing them to represent them. Only 15% of them ever considered more than one agent. What does that tell you?
People are really busy and protective of their time.
Okay.
Stay in front of the people.
Be in front of the people. Be front and center. Yep. It also tells me our consumers don't take us seriously. Because they should. They should interview a couple agents. They should find somebody that matches them. Unless it's all of you, then they need to take the first one, because you guys are professionals. So,
is it because they think it's just transactional?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Vince. To them, it's transactional. They don't look at it beyond that. The ones who look beyond it are the ones who've had those relationships with those agents, building a strong mindset. You need to be top of mind, so when your buyers and sellers think of real estate, they think of you. I've already shared with you how I lost out on that. That's the definition of Mindshare. So it's natural follow that goal number 2 of nurturing our relationship with our contacts to stay top of mind. The data shows that most sellers and buyers only interview one agent before choosing someone to work with. That means that if you are not first name that comes to mind when a contact thinks about real estate, you're probably not the one they're going to work with. How often do you think people, our consumers, think about needing a real estate agent? When do you
Once
think
a-
real estate agents?
once every 8 years about, because that's what the data shows, I think.
Yeah. And yet a couple of you mentioned earlier, only when they need them. Yep. But a couple of you mentioned earlier some things you can do to stay top of mind. Be the resource for them for vendors. Be a resource for them to help them understand about their number one asset. Be as you guys are building, one of the things I would highly encourage you to consider as you're building your database 2 to 3 years from now. So you start closing deals now, in 2 to 3 years, you might want to call people you closed, not to ask if they want to buy or sell real estate, but you might want to, maybe interest rates are in a better deal. And you might want to tell them, hey, Alan, I was thinking about you. There's been a movement in interest rates. I went back and pulled your file, and when you bought your house at 123 Main Street, your interest rate was around this. Have you looked into that recently, Alan? Have you maybe looked at a refinance to save you some money? Yeah, Alan's over here shaking his head no. But did you just come from a place of value and contribution? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's not hard to be present for your clients. It's not hard to help them. And that's how you can build that. So when you look at the graphic online, it kind of shows you on sellers what we talked about. 15% are about 2 agents, 11% is about everyone else, 74% is 1 agent. Your goal is to be that 1 agent. Clients never stop being contacts. That's the biggest thing. Clients never stop being contacts. We continue to nurture our relationships with them after the transaction remains and emotional proximity. One of the big things you can do is every year in the US, it's usually around April 15th, we have to do what as a society?
Is this taxes?
Yeah, taxes. Well, if somebody were to have bought a home the previous year, does that affect their taxes? Yeah, it does. What is the one piece of paper? And once again, I think this is pretty similar verbiage across all states, but if I'm a little off, I apologize. But what's the one piece of paper that they need to help them prepare their taxes?
W-2 or 4?
W-2 would be their paychecks. Somebody just put in the chat, the settlement statement.
Oh.
Yeah. So one thing I would encourage you guys to do every time you close a transaction, as you're wrapping up the file, I would print out a copy of the settlement statement. I would maybe write a little handwritten note that just says, Brian was thinking about you. Taxes are coming up. Congratulations on your home, on purchasing your home last year. Just in case you didn't have a copy, I wanted to provide the settlement sheet from the purchase of your home to help you with your taxes. Put it in an envelope, address the envelope, stamp the envelope, stick it in a file, and when do you think you mail all those?
A week before the 15th of
Nope.
April?
February
January.
1st.
January or February.
I got a bunch of answers there. Then said January, what else?
I would say February 1st.
I usually go with Vince. I like Vince's answer, January. I usually try to send it that first week, second week at the latest, because everybody does their taxes differently. But you just provided value to them. And and it cost you all of how much to provide that value to them? I asked you earlier, for those of you to think back, did you ever buy a house with somebody before you became an agent? After you bought that house, did they remind to send you the settlement statement, or did you have to go hunting for it? You probably had to go hunting for it. Most agents don't send it. But if you prepare it all right then, you just have a stack that you drop off on like January 8th at the post office and off they go. Already done. They're stamped, they're addressed, your letter to them is all there. It's amazing how far that can go. It was not my idea. Do not give me credit. What are some ahas you guys have?
I'm kind of wondering when the smart person with command is gonna set up that as a smart plan so that we don't even have to send them out in the mail. Just email them to the people.
I will actually tell you, Alan, there's currently not an automated system to email them, and yet in opportunities, you can email the file to them in command. So you could set a opportunity task reminder for January 8th to go in and send that document. So you could email the document straight from opportunities. But I like your thinking. I really do like that thinking. And I would encourage, if you really want to maybe see that come about, ideas.kw.com, post it there. That's where our developers look for things on developing command. But I love it. Who else has an aha?
I love that settlement statement idea. And for me personally, because I'm old school, I would probably opt to do the handwritten envelope. But I was thinking if we did it first of the year, that it would be good to send it out like as a happy new year. Hope you're enjoying your new home, and was thinking of you and thought you might need this when it comes time to prepare taxes.
Absolutely. No, I love that, Carol. That's well said. Yeah, make it what fits you. The only thing I would encourage you guys with that settlement idea, do it at the time of the closing and then just have it, because depending how many you have, it might be a lot to do in a couple days at the beginning of the year while you're already trying to work with people buying in that next year. So just kind of make that as part of your checklist when you close that transaction to prepare it then, stick it in the file, and then it's ready to go. One person put they like the kids graduating from high school and talking to parents a couple years prior to graduate. Yep. That's a great one. It helps them build their investment. Who knows? It could help them pay at least maybe for a down payment of that college degree. So yeah, very good. Okay, some good ahas. Okay. Diverse the plan. Okay, design every touch to provide value. This is big, guys. Think about your own self as a consumer for a moment. Think about yourself as a consumer. This is where you're going to find a really fun side of math. When you're on an email drip system, can you tell when it's canned or not? Yeah, we can tell. It's not rocket science. Can you tell when the drip system, it's canned, but it at least is geared towards you or your interest? Can you tell that?
Yes.
Yeah. One of my biggest pet peeves, and by the way, if you all ever do this to me, you will find I will unsubscribe very, very quick. It's one of the few times I will unsubscribe from my fellow KW agents drip systems. When you start sending me drip systems that are designed for clients to buy or sell real estate. Why do you think that's my number one unsubscribed pass?
Because you yourself can already buy or sell real estate.
Yep. And I like what was put in the chat. There's no value. It also tells me they don't know who I am. They just added me to their database without even thinking. I love that, not paying attention. Especially with command, it's so easy, you guys. If you guys, when I do database class about database contacts, I encourage tag your people. Use 50 tags if that's what it takes to tag your people, but tag the people in your database. If you have a touch system that's going to go out, a drip system that's going to provide value for people with dogs, should you put people with cats on it? No, because people with cats probably don't like dogs, and vice versa. If I'm sending out a drip system about things to go do with your kids under the age of 16, should I be sending that to everybody in my database? No. When you segment your database and you put them on communication or drip systems that meet them where they're at, that provide value to them, what do you think the reaction is gonna be from that client or your consumer? What do you think is gonna happen?
It's going to be relationship forming.
Gonna be relationship farming. It's gonna be positive. It's also gonna keep them from doing what?
Thinking of the next realtor when it comes time to buy property or sell property.
Yep, keeps you front of mind. And it most likely will keep them from unsubscribing or blocking you because you're making it about them. Now, is it going to be a home run every time? No. But if you have a few pieces here or there that doesn't necessarily apply to them, but the majority of what you send or the majority of your conversations do apply to them, they're going to stick with you. If you look on the screen, it talks about a couple different things. 19 to connect, 36 to convert. Always keep in mind 4 touches quarterly. Minimum. You should be talking to your people quarterly. 12 touches. Monthly email, a newsletter, a market report, a video. How many of you do video? Okay, a few of you. For those of you who don't do video, can I be safe to assume it's because you don't like video or the way you look on video? Yeah. Got some news for you. I love you all to death, and you guys are all going to be amazing. The way you look and sound to me right now, or the way you look and sound to me in person, is how you look and sound in that video. Do not be afraid to do video. Does everybody know who the #1 search engine in the world is?
Google.
Okay. Does anybody know who the second largest search engine in the world is? It is
YouTube.
not
YouTube.
YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, and they are owned by who?
Google.
It is slated, and this prediction has been around for about 3 years, and it's getting closer and closer to being accurate. But it is slated by the end of 2025, YouTube will most likely take the #1 spot as the largest search engine in the world.
Also owned by Google.
Huh?
Also owned by Google.
Also owned by Google. I don't think Google's going to mind that YouTube becomes #1. Video's here to stay. The reason I put such a big emphasis on this, people like video. People don't like to read anymore. And what do they say about a photo? A photo does what?
Says 1,000 words.
1,000 words. People's attention span is how long?
30 seconds.
Less than a goldfish. Video is what's winning. Video shorts are what's winning. Here's what's great about videos, guys. Here's what's great about any of this marketing material, any of these drips. Partner with people. Don't do it all on your own. What could be some videos you could do partnering? Who could you go partner with to shoot a 2-minute or less video?
Mortgage broker.
A mortgage broker. Awesome. What else? Who else?
Contractor.
A contractor. Okay.
Right.
celebrity.
Interest rates.
I heard a couple there. Did somebody say a celebrity?
I did.
I love that answer. I love that answer. Celebrity.
Someone with a large following.
Yeah, yeah. Do a. What are some other things you could do videos with?
How to stage your house.
How to stage your house.
First
Oh.
steps to buying a house.
Somebody just
Oh,
put
that's
in the
good.
chat. Somebody just put in the chat. Local parks and restaurants. Yep.
Wow, that's a good idea.
Pets. By the way, if you guys have a favorite restaurant, go do a video shoot there. Go film
Wow.
a minute, 2-minute video. That's part of your that's part of your drip campaign. By the
Or to
way,
do it yourself.
yeah, oh yeah, you don't need to hire anybody. These smartphones, more than perfectly are fine. Seasonal decor, love it. So now you're starting to see where your drip campaigns can start being more value than just canned. 2 touches, a promotional direct mail such as a magnet, a calendar, printed market report. Guys, once again, I will share whatever I can that worked for me. One of the best physical touches I've ever did, and this was not me, my marketing title rep put this together for me. I sent out to my neighborhood farm one year a postcard, and on the one side it talked about the real estate market, but on the back side it was this cheat sheet for the kitchen. It had measurements, it had a substitution list for the most common items, and my name was plastered on both sides. Believe it or not, that was one of the best pieces I've ever mailed out that people kept. Never in my life would I have guessed that, but then again, I don't spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I spend a lot of time at Texas Roadhouse. So, do an annual event, guys. Do not be afraid to do annual events. Now, how many of you are brand new agents and solo agents and are solo? Quite a few of you. Can do an event be a little costly? Can it cost a little money to do an event? Yeah, been there, done that. But here's what can help. What if you were to get with 3 or 4 other agents in your office who are just like you, relatively new, and you guys all went in together and hosted an annual event? Could that be feasible? And could it save you on the cost? Because now you're dividing the cost amongst you guys. Sometimes we get stuck in a little box thinking we can't do things outside it, but that's where some of the best creativity comes. Yep, bring vendors in as sponsors, absolutely. And if there's like 3 or 4 of you doing it together, that vendor might write a little bit bigger check because they know they got to write it to 4 of you. 36 to convert. Once again, phone calls. Never get away from those phone calls. Bi-weekly emails offering some type of information. Can you ask for donations to an annual event? Example, if you were to do a neighborhood event that benefits an animal shelter, ask for all blankets or towels. Absolutely. I'm not, Paula, I'm not sure if you were asking that as a question or making that as a statement, but no, you definitely can do that. There's an agent team I know, every year she does a water drive, a case of water drive. And when you bring a case of water, she gives you a pie. By the way, this ain't at Thanksgiving. One year she did this. I am not kidding you. We could not walk into the lobby of our office for a week because it was stacked with cases of water. I think she had like 200 cases of water. I'm like, wouldn't it have just been easier to order a pallet from Costco? That's what it looked like. So absolutely, Paula, do partner with a charity, do a collection, do something that's meaningful to you when you do that. Absolutely. By the way, guys, one of the best things you can do that doesn't cost you any money if you're looking to do events, do a seminar, do some type of real estate seminar. Now, how many of you did I just scare by saying do a real estate seminar? Okay, why did I scare by do a real estate?
Because I don't feel like I have all the knowledge yet because I'm new.
Okay,
But I could hire someone to just take over and do a PowerPoint and just be there to support them or host the event
yep.
or seminar.
When I first started my seminars, and this was hard for me, anybody who knows me knows I like to talk. My seminars, I like that. Fake it till you make it. Yeah, I did that a few times. My seminars, I talked for a grand total of 10 minutes in a 1-hour seminar. I did a first time buyer seminar. I brought in my inspector. I brought in my mortgage, my loan officer. I brought in my title escrow rep. And I brought in a home inspector. I made them do all the talking. I just showed up and looked good. You don't, and believe it or not, you guys had to learn some knowledge to get your real estate license. So you already know more than the average consumer. It just doesn't feel like it, but you really do. But a seminar, how much do you think it cost you to put on a seminar? Yep, $0. The most I've ever spent on a seminar is like 25 bucks. I throw in for some marketing and some refreshments, but my vendors brought all the refreshments. I hosted the seminar at the market center. I've never known a market center to charge their agents to use the training room on a weekend. Or do it at a local park, a community center. Maybe partner with a restaurant. Find a restaurant that doesn't open for breakfast. They only open for lunch or dinner. Host it at the restaurant in the morning. Bring in some Danishes. Vince, you had a question about Market Center?
What is it?
Your KW office.
Oh, okay, got it.
So, maybe partner with another business, host it with them. One time, my home inspector, we hosted it at their office. And you guys can do seminars on all types of things. And the best part is if you go to KW, if you go to Connect inside Command, we actually have seminar PowerPoints. There's a lot of fun you can have with seminars and provide value. Craft the message. Oops. Oh, I just lost. Oh, there you are. I got y'all back. Okay. Use 6 connecting questions to connect with people. Who are they? What do they want or need to do? Where do they want or need to do it? Why do they want or need to do it? When do they want or need to do it? And how do they plan to do it? 6 connecting questions. Somebody said it earlier, the Ford conversation, that's all it is. Ford is just Ford. But it really can build that up. Mofers. Make immediate offer. What does your direct mail look like? I had an agent one time, she wanted to get really good at doing CMAs. She wanted to get better practice at doing CMAs, so she was much more efficient in them. So she put out on social media, she was offering to do a free home value at no obligation. She had a couple people respond and let her do it, but then she had some friends and family who shared it on their social media. By the time she was done, oh, and she also mixed a little fun in there. She said she was in a contest. She was in a contest to how many free home evaluations she could provide in the month of February, whatever the month was. And so she put it out there. She had over, I think she had like 15 or 19 people contact her to do a CMA, a home value. So one, she got to get really good at home value, but here was the thing. She was not allowed to deliver those CMAs or that home value report by email. She had to deliver it in person. And when the people's like, oh, that's okay, just email, she goes, no. She would be like, Carol, it only takes a couple minutes. I'm not even coming in the house. I'm just going to meet you at your front door. And when she would deliver it, before she delivered it, she marked it up. She made some nice green circles. She highlighted some information. She put some red X's through some things. It don't matter. She made it colorful. And then when she dropped it off, she would drop it off with Carol. And she goes, by the way, your home value is this. It increased this. This is good. Here you go. And she goes, by the way, if you would like, I do this for my clients once a year, so if you would like, I can reach out to you in a year and give you an updated one. Oh, that's fantastic. And if you would like a generic, a general idea every month, I can send you a general idea what's happening in your neighborhood every month. And when they said yes, what do you think the general one was she was sending?
The yearly one, obviously.
Nope.
Neighborhood nurture.
Neighborhood nurture. She got him to accept the neighborhood nurture. Out of those 15 or 18 CMAs, she got 4 listings off it. And one of those listings, the guy really said, I'm not looking to sell my house. She goes, no problem. I just want you to know how much your number one asset's worth. 3 months later, he called her to list his house. So have fun with it. Have fun with your immediate offers. Just be legal about it. Don't do anything illegal. Develop your touch plan. Okay, now goal settings. If you have 200 contacts in your database and you put all of them on a 36 touch plan, how many touches is that per year?
How many you said you had?
You have 200 contacts in your database and you put them on a 36 touch. How many touches is that per year?
7,000.
Yep. Yep, 7,200 touches. That now, how many of you does that feel like a lot to? Few of you, okay. And some of you do feel overwhelming, but both responses are great. And if you read the one thing, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan explain that we need a big why and we need to think big. So as you guys are going through this journey, one of the things I would also challenge you with is your big why you got into real estate. And the one thing I have learned from many mentors, and both in real estate and in other business ventures, the one common denominator amongst all these successful people has been, if your why does not make you shake in your boots, it is not big enough. We all have a different why for a reason. We all have a different goal for a reason. Your goal is going to be different from mine, and there's no right or wrong answer. And yet, if your goal and your big why does not make you shiver, make you have a couple sleepless nights, it's not big enough. The 7,200 touches might seem like a lot. Can somebody divide 7,200 by 340 for me?
I did 360 and it's roughly 20 contacts a day.
Okay. There's a reason I didn't say 360, but we'll go with that just for the sake of time. 20 touches a day. How many hours a day are you supposed to lead gen?
1, 2.
Minimum 3 hours.
3 hours. Those touches count as part of your lead gen. It doesn't take long to do 20 touches in a couple hours, depending what you're doing.
What do you call it? What you call that?
Lead gen, lead generating.
Lead generation, okay.
3 hours.
When you say lead generation, is that different from following up with your leads or your contacts?
Nope, that's part of it.
Okay.
Great clarifying question. Love that question. When you look at it, we do in Command have smart plans that are already built on 36 touches that are there for you guys to go. And already available, so you guys can just take what's there, you can use what's already there, or you can make modifications to fit your real estate needs. Who would like to share an aha? As we wrap up the evening.
Can you bring that last screen back?
That one?
Yes,
Yes. What about?
I missed it.
Oh, gotcha. Yep. So in command, when you log into command, the fourth applet from the top on the left-hand side is smart plans. When you click on smart plans, you have two categories. You have what's called My Smart Plans, meaning the smart plans that you can use, and then you have the library. The library are smart plans made by Keller Williams, along with other agents who have made smart plans and graciously have shared them. You can come into the library and find smart plans already created, like the 36 Touch. You can click add smart plan and it will add it to your smart plan tab, the one that's called My Smart Plan. And when you're in the My Smart Plan, that's where you can make edit modifications if you feel something needs to be changed to match you. And then you can start adding people in your database to that to start being on that drip campaign. That's all a smart plan is a drip campaign. I like seeing in some of the ahas in the chat. Never let people forget that you are in real estate. Clients never stop being a contact. Always bring value. Absolutely. And it's not hard to bring value, guys. We just overthink it. We like to overcomplicate it. But it's not hard to bring value. Okay. Are there any final questions as we wrap up tonight's call? The one thing I like you to remember is this statement. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. It's amazing when you, as a professional salesperson, when you come from contribution, how quick it is to make turn somebody on your side. That's all people want. As the old saying goes, do unto others as you want done to you. Treat others as you want to be treated. Nothing here is new. Nothing here is complicated. It's all simple. Remember, you want to be, your one goal to start off is at least 10 conversations a day, 10 contacts added a day, 10 handwritten notes, 10-5-1 social media engagement, which if I was you guys, I would really encourage you on that one to double it, 20, 10, and 2, and enrichments. Keep building on your success. Are there any questions? Now, one thing I will help you guys out with your success with your daily conversations, I would encourage, if you have not done so already, I would very much encourage in the chat, type in who you are, a phone number or email or both, and where you're from. Because what's one thing we could all be doing with each other right now?
Networking.
Networking. Referrals. Absolutely, Paula. You guys are all starting in the same boat right now. Agent-to-agent relationship. Katy, Texas. How are you guys doing down in Katy, Texas? Did you guys get hit by the storm?
No, we're fine.
Fine. Okay. I didn't know how far it went over. Okay. I got another person from Katy, Texas, Colorado, Washington, Oregon. Another Katy, Texas. Okay. Katy, Texas is rocking the house tonight. San Diego, can you all do me a favor and send me some of that nice weather? I'm sick of 115 in Phoenix. Las Vegas, love it. If you got tickets for the implosion next week, please let me know. I will be your friend forever. Oregon, Las Vegas, Washington, Las Vegas. Oregon. Washington. San Jose, there we go. That's a nice one. Another Colorado. Heat advisory at 90 degrees. Okay, Paula.
I
Las
have a
Vegas,
question for you, Matthew.
yes. Ask
So,
away.
yeah, earlier you mentioned that you had somebody reach out and say they wanted to sell a house with you and you got the listing, right? So I'm curious, kind of how do you how do you transition that from, okay, I'm nurturing to, all right, let's actually do something.
How do I transition from nurturing to let's actually do something? That's a great question.
Yeah,
It's
and
gonna-
that might be another module, by the way. So, but I'm just curious, how you did that one, or how did that one go for you?
No, it's a great question. I don't mind sharing. Real quick, I know we're at time. If anybody has to go, no problem. I definitely want to ask Wellington's question. So if you like to stay on for a couple minutes, I don't mind a little bonus hour. The truth is, I just kind of see where the conversation's at. I know that sounds vague, but depending what answers they're giving me is where I might determine to take that. If they're really asking questions about a particular area, I might be like, Wellington, you really seem interested in the Arcadia area. And have you been over there to look at anything lately? Oh, you haven't looked? Well, how about this? What if I were to maybe set up a couple private showings for you and let's go look at a couple homes? That might be one way I would transition the conversation. Another transition I might have would be like, Wellington, so we've been talking. I know you've been thinking about selling your house. You've been looking at the home value. You did a home value request on my website. Would you like for me to do a comprehensive home value? Come sit down, meet with you, show you what the market's doing? That might be one way I transition to get to the listing appointment. So some of it's really more just listening to what they're asking, and based off what they're asking or what their answers are to questions I ask them, kind of will help steer which way we're going. Some of it might even be, Wellington, have you had a chance to speak with the lender yet to see what your options look like? There's a lot of people, Wellington, that a lot of clients I work with right now who are actually not even selling their current home. They're actually buying a second home that they're moving to, and the home they're currently living in, they're turning into an investment property where they're receiving a monthly rental income off of as passive income. Would that be something you might be interested in? Does that kind of help?
Absolutely. I'm writing some of this down. It's very smooth how you do it. I like that.
I'll be honest with you. I wasn't that good when I started. I'm still not that good. There's times I'll still stumble. But you know what? Not every professional baseball player is going to hit a home run every time. Not every football player is going to catch a touchdown. But yet, what's the one thing they all have in common that they do?
Try and try again.
Yep. Try again, and they practice. The best thing I can encourage you guys to do, maybe there's somebody on this call, partner with somebody, do some role playing together, treat each other like the client, have the stumbles with them. Record yourself. If you're a little nervous to do it with somebody else, if you have a dog, have the conversation with the dog and record yourself. Trust me, you're really going to hate recording videos after that. Do it in front of a mirror. The biggest thing I would encourage you I want you guys on the phone as quick as possible, calling people. It's okay. I like that, Vince. Yeah, Barry Bonds had the most missed hits and the most home runs. But the truth is, before you jump on call, maybe partner with somebody and do 20 minutes of script practice, script role play. And then jump into making your dials. The biggest thing you can mess up though is when you tell somebody something that's completely wrong. Don't be afraid to tell somebody, you know what, William, or Wellington, that's an amazing question. I don't deal with that often, but I'm gonna get the answer for you and I'll get back to you in about 3 hours. I've told my clients that numerous times. I've known the answer and told my client that. I said, you know what, that's an amazing question, client. Let me get you the exact answer and I'm gonna get back to you. Even though I knew the answer, it was another reason to reach out to them and show I work for them.
I would say the big thing about changing a contact into like a hey, let's do something now is that you want to set up an appointment with them. But to do that, you typically have to have a reason. So one of the ones that I heard the other night was, hey, I don't really know if this is for you or not, but if I could save you a couple of $1,000s and a few hours of looking for a home, would that be something you're interested in? And if they say yeah, then you can ask for the appointment and go and sell your value to them during the appointment, and then you're going to get them to sign.
Absolutely. Your goal is always to get to that appointment and that appointment to get them to sign. But sometimes just don't overthink it. Just go with the flow.
I'm curious, is there like something that's preventing me from copying the text in the Zoom call? Because I just want to like copy out all these people's numbers so I can save them, but I can't seem to copy and paste from it. I'm just curious if that's just me or if that's happening for other people or if
I
that's a
saved it as a
setting.
picture instead.
I've never had issues doing copy or text, so I'm not entirely sure. But yeah,
Yeah, I agree with Vincent. I would just screenshot it.
I'll stay on for a moment so you guys can have a few minutes to do that. I'm gonna